Starting.
Great.
Yeah. Good evening, namaskar, sat sri akal, everyone. Future chartered accountants. So welcome to Unacademy platform. So I know अभी result आए थे थोड़े दिन पहले ही. So I think this session is very important for you to understand कि बिग फोर फर्म ये मिड साइज फर्म ये जो टर्मिनोलॉजी हम यूज करते हैं थ्रू आउट हमारे फ्रेंड सर्कल में ये है क्या एक्चुअली एंड हमें कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है गोइंग फॉरवर्ड. ठीक है, तो इस सेशन में वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस ऑल दीज थिंग्स. ओके, and also please note that this is Articleship week we are taking by a special class which is absolutely free. So what I am doing is if at all you guys want any other help, we have session coming up wherein educators and special people are going to talk about writing your internship, writing your CV and all. So I'm just sharing this link so that in future, yes, you can refer to this for you, and this is certainly going to benefit you. Okay, so first I'll give introduction to myself, then I'll introduce Fareen ma'am. So I'm a chartered accountant, yes. So what I have done internship in a mid-sized firm, yes. Then I joined Big Four. I did a considerable number of years over there, 4.5 years, yes. Then I started my own practice. I did it for 2 years. Then again, I was in a wealth management setup. And now I'm in Unacademy as academics head. So diversity आप देख सकते हो, totally mixture है सब चीजों का. So कैसे क्या होता है, कैसे अपने करियर को आगे प्रोग्रेस करेंगे, सब बात करेंगे हम इस पे. And we have with us Fareen ma'am. So Fareen ma'am is specialist in indirect taxation, that way. So she has been doing it for the last 10 years and is in a consultancy firm, very known consultancy firms. And fun fact, she is passionate about dancing. So yes, we both are going to guide you in solving your dilemma on whether you should go for Big Four or a mid-size firm, or rather small size थोड़ा odd हो जाता है, मतलब small size firm चलो ease of reference के लिए बोल लेते हैं. Okay.
So Sudhanshu, I think good evening everyone. Thanks for joining. I think before Sudhanshu you start, I just want to add to the kind of diversion we both have, and that itself would give a good flavor to everyone attending this session. While you have a lot of diverse experience in whichever field and whatever you would have done, and I mean, just contrary to that, I think where I started, my focus, my idea, my objective was very clear right from the very beginning to the time I'm here. Of course, the personal aspects would always factor in, but that's the consistency I have been versus the diverse aspects which has its own flavor and has its own, pros about it. So that's the difference, I think, in time to come in the next 1 hour or so, we'll understand between the firms as well.
Yes. So, ma'am, when we say Big Four, what is the general? I don't think there is a name such as Big Four, but
yeah, it's cliched now. There's nothing called Big Four. There's Big Six, Big Seven, Big Eight. I don't know how many, and there's IT firms coming into place. So I think in terms of the tax dynamics, things have drastically changed. So I think Big Four become the term. And, the more you use this term, there's a sense of fear. And it's very important to understand that there is just a sense of fear and a sense of perception. It's more about a perception and just a thought. That's it. Right. Nothing beyond that, I would like to put it.
So for our learners, just to simplify, I'll say Big Four is what? It is EY. Then we have Deloitte. We have PwC of the world. Then we have KPMG, right? So these are the Big Four, essentially what people refer to. And then we have Big Six. Big Six, I think we can include Grant Thornton, right? Grant Thornton.
Yeah, you have BMR and Grant Thornton and I don't know, RSM, Ambit and all of that. I don't know how many more. SKP now it's come in. So you'll have many more names to hear.
And again, we have a certain, so many people move out from Big Four, partners move out from Big Four and they open their own boutique firms, right? Yes. So yes, we do have certain boutique firms also which specializes in particular thing. So suppose the catalyst. One of them is Transaction Square, one of them is Catalyst. These guys, they only do transactions. They are only into M&A. So that is how I will explain what a boutique firm is. So they are particularly specializing in one thing, and the background is the partners are there from Big Four only. So they have moved out from there. They have opened their own shop, I can say, and then they are taking the practice to another level. So yes, ma'am, can you please explain what are the departments over there in suppose Deloitte or a KPMG? So they do hell of a task. They do everything,
Right.
and anything under the roof. But how
Right.
are departments bifurcated, ma'am? Can you please share?
Yeah, so I think in terms of because the name itself suggests it's big. So under that big umbrella, you have obviously, and that's one of the which we will see in in a couple of further slides. But the idea of having such a large organization is that you will get everything and anything under the sun. So
Correct.
right from tax to audit to business advisory to risk advisory to transaction tax, which is a part of tax, but it's just specific to certain transactions. Then you have too many other within tax. It's indirect tax, it's direct tax, it's transaction tax. Now it's transfer pricing. Now it's corporate tax, which is different. Then now it's the technology which is coupled with tax. So the idea of having a flavor of a big four, while it has its own pluses, which one of the big pluses here is that you get to see. Maybe you may not be able to experience everything, because obviously you can't do everything. You have to be focused on one area of service line or a department, so to say. But at least you will get to hear, you will get to experience by hearing, by talking, by networking. That's how you will be able to grow your thoughts. So I think the idea of big is to have these network and these flavor of different areas of taxes and beyond tax.
Right. So just to simplify, if I have to explain my learner, so yes, CA क्या करते हैं, audit करते हैं. So there are two departments: internal audit, which in Big Four or they call it risk department.
Right.
Then we have statutory audit. Then tax करते हैं CA. Tax के अंदर क्या क्या आता है? We have direct tax, we have indirect tax. Okay, these are the basic bifurcation. Then we have internal bifurcation for those two, for everything, right? So then again, these guys also do business valuations. They do transaction advisory. So ये जो अपने deals होते हैं, suppose आज Reliance को future retail को खरीदना है. So this is a deal happening. So someone has to advise, and we chartered accountants are blessed to do all these kind of jobs. So yes, so everything, if you see, is there, but it is very much segregated. Okay. So the moment I say audit के अंदर statutory audit, so there are also certain divisions in it also. We have specialist division. So we used to call TCE, IIC, those kind of words were used. Where FS, अगर FS sector में audit के अंदर आप FS लेके रखे हो, so it means you are doing audit of banks, NBFC, and all related to those areas only. So just to give you an understanding, दुनिया बहुत बड़ी है Big Four की. You just need to understand before getting into it. I think Fareen ma'am has rightly pointed out all the departments which are there. So I just simplified it. Okay. So I think Big Six maybe moreover these kind of things only happen, right?
Yeah.
But so not that kind of specialization, but more or less departments are there, which takes care of separate departments are there to take care of separate different things.
Correct.
Okay. So I think abhi jinko articleship karni hai, because we have learners who have just cleared exams right now, and जिनको articleship करनी है, वो लोग के लिए ये समझना बहुत जरूरी है बॉस कि डिपार्टमेंट्स क्या क्या हैं, कैसे जाते हैं. और अभी I think we are moving on to the next slide. What should be the thought process behind choosing your firm? Okay. So as Fareen ma'am said earlier, she was very much clear कि I want this, and she is rightly doing it right now. So मतलब वैसे ही लर्नर्स का भी, मतलब जो इंटर्नशिप में एंटर कर रहे हैं उनको भी थॉट प्रोसेस एक होता है. सपोज इफ आई एम सेइंग दैट Okay, so I'm taking the first point, job versus starting my own practice. So suppose if Fareen ma'am would have thought of starting her own practice, so possibly Big Four is not the right answer to it.
Right.
So yes, then exposure to work and culture. Ma'am, Big Four में क्या अपना consultancy firms में how things happen, the work and culture. Can you please elaborate?
Now you're putting a very hard question on me, and the onus will be on me to either scare or convince the students. But no, on a lighter note, again, see, in all these sessions, whenever I've been taking, my only way of, talking and sharing is only by way of my personal experience.
Correct.
So again, and whenever I take interviews of either the new interns or the new qualifieds, the only objective which I have with them, it's not about how much knowledge you have. It's not about yes, your academics, it does play a very important role and very crucial role. It does give you a flavor of being really a good professional. But at the end of the day, I think, what's your objective and end game? What's your area of interest? And most of us, when we start, we do not have that. Most of us. If we have, it's great. You can really start quick, but most of us don't. So coming to your basic question as exposure to work in culture, I think when you start, you have to be prepared, and it is very good for you to be prepared to work hard and to explore as much as possible, because the starting phases of your career in whichever field you go, whether you go for your own entrepreneurship or your any professional, be it a so-called Big Four or any other consultancy field, what is important is your formative years will be very critical, because those are your learning years.
Right.
Hence, at that point in time, according to me, what you need to prioritize, which I have, again, my personal experience and what I always suggest to the new team members, you need to prioritize work, because in life, it's a journey. So every journey, every day, things will unfold and you need to learn new things, and there is a time for everything. So if today I'm just doing an internship and I'm just, qualified, if you expect me to have a chill life and just work for maybe 4, 5 or 6 hours, I think that may not work in a long run. Again, this is my personal, every to each his own. Everyone is free to really think about the choices they need to make in life. But my perspective is that when you begin your journey of your work or profession, I think the formative years, you need to focus on your work, because those formative years will decide whether your next phases after your, you cross your 4, 5 years in a particular field, in whichever organization. That's not what is important. What is important is what you've learned, the field, whether it is tax, non-tax, audit, etc., etc., etc. That field of knowledge, that base of knowledge which you create in these initial years, that will help you to more balance your work life and your personal goals. So I think for me, what was important is to decide at what point in time of my career I need to focus on what, and then switch over. So I'm preparing in the initial stages so that I can get the fruits and I enjoy it as much as I can.
So I think the clarity of thoughts, what we generally say, that is very much important on day one. Ki boss karna kya hai? Suppose if I'm moving ahead, so just to, this is not my example. Actually, it's my brother example. So he cleared his intermediate and he was hell-bent that he want an internship in Big Four because he wanted to do an audit thing. And he was so clear. Even I was, see, you also understand there are very limited openings.
Right.
But if you have that kind of zeal, enthusiasm, there is something which is attracting you. And he was so clear, and right now also he is in one of the Big Four. Yes, but that clarity was there from day one.
Right.
So I think that is very much important.
And Sudhanshu, I mean, just to add, see, there is a possibility that not everyone will have that clarity. Okay, and it's a human tendency, not
Okay. Yes,
everyone.
yes,
But
yes.
what is important and what is in your control? Clarity is not in your control. Your end game is not in your control. I have seen so many people who are super confused when they join, but they just had to work because I think that's the time to explore,
Right.
right? And that's where we will decide what next step to take and in which field we need to take that step. So I think even if that is there, it's okay if you don't have clarity, if you don't have that end objective at day one, because we are too young at that point in time, right? So we
Correct.
may not have. What is important is at least to fix up that aspect that we have to learn, and then
Yes.
that learning needs to
Yes.
translate what my focus should be, because that will help you wherever you go. You can, you need to be open to do whichever work comes to you during
Sure.
your internship or during whichever
Exactly.
short
Exactly.
term
Yes.
jobs you do. So
Yes.
that is important rather than trying to pick and choose at that point in time, because that pick and choose could be a cause of worry at a later time than just being open to everything, and then you decide, yes, I have done 10 things, now I need to focus on two other things which I think should be my end game.
Yes. So third point I'm taking, I have written specialization versus wide range of learning. So simply putting it forward. So suppose if someone says, "Okay, I want to have a taste of internal audit also, statutory audit also, tax audit also, and I want to do some taxation work, GST work," then I think Big Four may not be a possible route for him, right? This is only possible in a mid-sized firm or a small-sized
Right.
firm. So, from my experience, if I have to talk, yes, I did business valuations, I did assessment, I did internal audit, one or two tax audit I had done, statutory audit also. Obviously, you do it because you are among interns. Everyone is doing audit, so of course, you do it. So, yes, if you are intending to have a flavor of everything, then I think mid-sized firm is the right place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Then ma'am, networking. So I think networking in a mid-sized firm vis-a-vis networking in a big four. I think a big difference is there. I think when you walk through the alley, you say hi, bye to. I think on a daily basis, I think you meet 5 to 10 faces, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
the quality of network, it it's that people recognize your face, but they
Yes.
don't recognize you. But vis-a-vis in a mid-sized firm, yes, there. So in my firm, there were 50 odd articles. I knew each and every one of them.
Right.
So again, if someone focuses on networking, so I have come across few people who are getting into internship just to have this networking base. I was little surprised, but again, that is how it is. So hence I included this point also. Ma'am, last point, ma'am, you have to take this. This fun as internship should be a blend of fun and work. I know the clarity and the job has to be done. You have n number of hours. You have to do n+1 work. But again, fun should be an important element.
Absolutely. I think, again, this has always been a suggestion. You just have to enjoy whatever you do.
Yes.
Yes, of course, you can't really have a smile 24 by 7 on your face while working. That's not what I mean by saying enjoy. But it's just that you enjoy. You enjoy working with certain people. You may see, you may see good people. You may experience something really, a lot of stress, pressure, good, bad, ugly. Those times will come. But I think it's all a part of the game, and it's just that at the end of the day, you're too young. You need to also enjoy. It's not just sitting in front of the laptop or just doing work. You have to take out time. It's just that how you get that time management quality, which also you need to learn with time.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, I have always told all my interns, yes, responsibilities are all obviously there, and the more bigger organization you work, the more bigger name you work with, that responsibility on your shoulder is definitely bigger. But at the end of the day, you're an individual, you're just an intern, you're just beginning your career. So do not, really be a. I mean, do not just get too bogged down with these things. Try managing it to the extent possible, your work, but at the same time, do not just lose yourself. at the end of the day.
On a lighter note, I have to say, at the end of the day, you are an intern. Partner is not going to pin something on you that you did wrong, because they also understand that, okay,
Yeah.
you have just given your intermediate exams. You know certain things, but practical side of things you are still unaware of, right? So partners do understand your manager. Okay, I'll also explain the hierarchy, how it happens in a mid-sized firm, and I think in a big fours and all. So intern is, I think, the lowest in the food chain. Then I'm talking about big four. Then you have consultant, you have senior consultant, then you have manager. Manager के ऊपर you have senior manager, then director, then partner. So बॉस इतने सारे लोग हैं, इतना तो डरने का ही नहीं बात है ना. आपके ऊपर रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी एज सच कुछ नहीं है, बट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी इज दैट व्हाट यू आर डूइंग, डू इट विद द राइट हार्ट. मतलब गलती नहीं करना है, दैट्स इट. लॉजिकल थोड़ा काम करना है, दैट्स हाउ आई विल से. So don't fear so much. Agar if at all if you are going for a mid-sized firm or a big four, responsibility 100% it is there, but it's not that something will be pinned on you and you will be held responsible for everything and you will be hanged if you do any mistake. So I think, and I explained the hierarchy of a big four. Then again, in a mid-sized firm is very fair and simple. Interns, again, they have to be at the lowest level. Then you have manager and directly partner. Most of the time, this is the only hierarchy. So both manager will be having 1 or 2 years of experience. Possibly he would have been an intern in that very firm. And then you have partner. So itna hierarchy nahi milega aapko, itna interaction nahi hoga. Possibility is there in a mid-sized firm that you interact with partner more often. But it's not that in Big Four also. Big Four, even I have seen interns working with partner directly on certain business development projects and advisory, small advisory and all. So yes, देखो कहीं पे भी limitation कुछ नहीं है. Just that कि at least you should be a bit clear what you are getting into. That was my intention. Yes. So very important slide for people who have just cleared, I think, intermediate. What is the process of interview in a Big Four consultancy firm or mid-sized firm? So ma'am, first point, prerequisite. Is it that I'm going to take you only if you have cleared both groups? Is this a kind of criteria people say it is there in a consultancy firm?
Yeah. We generally keep that as a criteria because, because as an organization, because we work in such a large team. And our key being, the team members, and we also have to factor in, the interns who's joining, their learning skills, their abilities, the fact that they are also learning and just not responsible for delivering, and because the fact that we are working on big clients, big projects. So more as a matter of, ensuring that we balance this learning part as well as client deliverable part, because at the end of the day, we are, client servicing organization. So hence, I think at least to what I'm aware of, to whatever comes to me, we do consider people who have cleared both groups. Very exceptional. I don't even remember, but very exceptional could be a case. But there could be a case where people may not want to continue or something in that extreme situation. But I think in a normal course, it's definitely both group clearance.
Yes, suppose an exception. Suppose out of four papers of group 2, a student has gained exemption in 3 papers. We just have to give one. I think going forward, we can consider, even I can consider, if I am a manager, I can take him in my team. So again, second point is ranks. People say ki, if only you secure a rank, you get an internship in Big Four. I think that is a myth.
Absolutely not. Yeah, absolutely not.
And then references. This is the word which I think is widely used. So,
no. I have a more filmy word. Is that nepotism?
This word.
That's a more filmy word. But no, not really. Yes, obviously, in any organization, that's unavoidable. But it's just, to be very honest, I have handled such cases personally, and hence I can tell you. And I have personally said no to certain cases because at the end of the day, it's just a reference.
Correct.
But not the decision. Decision is definitely the relevant team, the relevant service line, whether it is tax, non-tax, the relevant director or partners who needs to take the final decision, because we need to be responsible at the end of the day towards that individual. Hence, it's extremely important. Reference can be done, but decision is definitely not mandatory.
Right. Suppose some big reference has come and simply you are just having a discussion with that person intern, and you ask a simple question, what is GST? And his first answer is GST is goods and service tax. Okay, and he's not speaking anything after the same.
Right,
So,
right.
again, these kind of
No, no.
people, learners, I doubt people in Big Four will like to have them in their team.
No, no, no. Definitely not. It
Well,
cannot be.
yes, yes, that's what I want to tell my all people who are there. Uh, Ma'am, just to explain, because I was also part of Big Four fraternity and all. So interview process for intern. Uh, uh, I will explain, ma'am. You can add if wherever I'm missing. So there are actually two kind of things happening when intern has to get into a Big Four. So one is this camp drive, internship drive generally happens. So it
Yeah.
happens for KPMG, it happens for Deloitte, it happens for EY, everyone. So what happens is a certain date after. So suppose your exam results were announced, I think 7 8 days back. I think today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. I'm 100% sure maybe the interview is that drive is over, or it's going to be in next 1 or 2 days. So what happens is, they simply say that it's a drive. You have to just come walk in, and mind you, no one is going to stop you on entrance. The moment you say yes, I'm there for this drive, and generally it's on Sunday, Saturday when the offices are not closed. Candidate comes in. So he, again, possibility is there. See, demand supply, as you all understand, obviously the supply is too much vis-a-vis demand. If suppose 30 odd vacancies are there, including tax and audit and everything, people 200 300 people are going to come, and people with both groups and ranks and one group and certain exemption in another group, all kind of people are there. So what happens is, so suppose it's inhumane for HR to take an interview of 300 odd people. 5 minute भी at all she is expiring, I think she will not be able to complete everyone. So what happens is group discussion. That's the first thing which will happen to eliminate people who are not good in explaining themselves, right? So देखो everyone, this is very logical. अगर आप explain नहीं कर पा रहे, if you're not able to explain what's there in your head to your colleague, to your boss, I think then to the whole profession takes a hit that way. So out of 300, say 20 30 or 20 30% of people will be taken ahead, and that will be an for an HR round. HR round is fairly simple, just that they are going to interact with you. Don't worry, they are not going to ask any question. They just want to have a conversation, that 2 5 minutes conversation. And yes, and if you are fumbling there, if you are not able to answer what the person is asking, I think yes, you know your answer, what is going ahead of you. So then, once you qualify HR round, and HR round is basically your way of communication, your if you ask certain it can be an HR can also ask you what is GST, just to make you prepared for it. I'm saying this. So if you are able to explain these in a simple manner, yes, you are going forward. And I have written manager round, partner round. It can be either one. It can be both rounds also. Don't take a stress of that, because manager also, they do understand what your background is. How suppose if I have to, Farin ma'am has to take this interview. I suppose I am an intern. So you, ma'am, you understand that, okay, I have just cleared my exams. I only know theoretical part of it.
Yeah.
And you will frame your questions accordingly, right?
See, I personally ask more questions on the hobbies. Specifically to interns. I personally, but again, I mean, every interviewer is different, definitely. But I think as far as I have experienced, and what I try and inculcate in my team, whoever wants to take the interview. I think it's very light, at least for the ones I have seen. At an intern level, I think, as you rightly mentioned, we are not looking for something who's like superbly technical and brilliant and all of that. That's not what the objective is. At the end of the day, the objective is how the person, whether the person is presentable, because you would be representing an organization, how good you are in communication. And when I say communication, it is not necessarily it has to be in English, because I know for the fact that there are many people I have personally seen. They may not be super brilliant in English. English could not be their strong point. But I think at the end of the day, irrespective of the language, so long as you're able to communicate well and clearly pass on the message or address what is asked, I think that is important.
Correct.
And your overall, your objective, your family, yes, family background, we do try and ask. That's what is important. And I think that's the general questions. That's it. Nothing much. Nothing on the technical, nothing to worry at all according to me.
Decisions is not taken on the family background and English communication and all. It's just that you...
Absolutely not. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just about how much more we can engage. Right. Because the more we engage, the more we talk. I need to know, I need to have topics, right? Which I can connect to. It's about connecting. Yeah. So I can't connect on indirect tax. I can't connect on any other subject. I can't connect on technical ground. It doesn't make sense for me to connect on the academics, because academics is something which is there on paper already. So what more can I connect? So it's just about connection, how much confidently you're talking and communicating.
Yes. So if at all someone is sitting in front of us, suppose if even I am taking an interview, I understand he has qualified that level and technically he is that strong, but just that you want him to speak up. That's, and that should be in a confident manner rather than if at all some grammatical mistakes are there in the statement.
That's perfect.
It doesn't matter, right? So I think technical questions, yes, do they really ask tough? No one asks tough technical questions. Be assured of that. Aptitude test, I think I missed. This is what I was talking to a few of my friends earlier. It used to take place at certain Big Four CS aptitude test, but वो फिर कैसा होगा? Maths के questions होंगे again. So it is again depending on, suppose if it is in Mumbai, yes, it can take place over there, but Bangalore में ऐसा नहीं होता होगा. In Kolkata, never. We don't think also these things happen. So again, it depends. You just have to keep open your mind that, okay, yes, these all things can happen with me and I have to go through it confidently. And vis-a-vis in an interview of a mid-sized firm, so suppose I'll explain my interview, how it happened 7-8 years back, 10 years back. So I simply went with my CV print and I kept it on the partner's table and he asked me 10 questions and those 10 questions were very, very basic. Debit credit की entries पूछ रहा है वो पूछ रहा है कि बैलेंस शीट में prepaid expenses where it is going to appear. These are very basic. Anyone can answer these. But he told me after the interview, boss, you have done 10 on 10. I have asked these. I have learned these questions and asked to everyone who is joining me. And I see 4 or 5 questions people fumble. Simple questions. People fumble. Just that you have to be confident and you should be, I think, aware what the subject is. I think that's what is required. Big 4 में भी कर लो, Big 6 में भी कर लो, boutique firms में कर लो. Basics is required, and the other thing is that confidence तो चाहिए ही चाहिए.
Sudhanshu, just a tip. I think try and avoid lying in an interview. I think really that gets caught. I have personal experience in, and you can immediately recognize whether the person is just bluffing or being honest. So my only tip is that if you do not know something, if you're not understanding something, please feel free, be honest to, ask again or apologize and accept that you're not aware. You can certainly come back and learn. So I think that honesty is something which definitely is important in all the interviews.
Even I've heard certain stories that yeah, out of 5 questions asked, I was only able to answer one question, and still I was hired for the job. Yes, if even if you have answered one question honestly,
Yeah,
it's okay.
yeah,
And again, the manager and the HR who is taking an interview, they are also under equal pressure.
right,
Pressure to take that interview. There are at times people are unsure कि what questions should I ask to these guys. यार interns आए हैं, क्या पूछूं मैं?
right.
That so yes. So I like to tell to my learners कि don't be afraid. Wherever you are going, say a mid-sized firm or a big four firm, be confident about yourself. I think that will really help. So I think we are taking now other relevant viewpoints. One is stipend. Earlier it used to create storm when we used to have debate on it. But yes, ma'am, on consultancy firm, how the stipend works, just a random number will help if at all it is there.
I think I'm not honestly aware of the
Okay,
recent number, but definitely I think it's around between 10 to 12K. I think
correct. And I think it
that
increases
range.
year on year. Year
Yeah,
one it is
yeah,
higher
yeah.
than year two, year three.
10 to 12, 15. I think it goes on.
One of the perks of working in Big Four, Big Six is the stipend.
Absolutely.
But
That's the benefit.
yes, but these days mid-sized firms, I think they are competing, but not as they are not giving as good as what a Big Four gives. But again, yes,
Yeah.
the numbers are fairly good. It's not that 1,000 rupees what we used to get. That too was expense in traveling, 2 day, 3 day traveling again. Second point is leaves to study for CA final. Again, this is very important considering people say that suppose if I join a big firm, what is going to happen is that I'm not going to get leaves for CA final exams. Ma'am, I think this is a I think big mistake what people do. Right.
So, also there are two aspects. One is formal, second is practical. Of course, the bigger the organization, it has to be more structured, more systematic, more policies, more focus on formally not to do anything against the institute policy because internship we are responsible to
Right.
the institute as well, right? So we have
Yes.
to follow those guidelines. So strictly as per the guidelines, we follow the leave policy. What is there in as per the institute policy? That's strictly on paper. Now, yes, we have seen practically as well. It depends on which team you're working. What kind of connect you have with your seniors. What kind of the range of team you have, because there could be a possibility that you're working in a small team and the dependency on you is high, so there could
Right.
be a issue, whereas you're working in a little larger team, so even if you have the flexibility of taking an extra off on an informal basis, again this is all on informal basis beyond what the policy says. This really depends on how much you connect, what kind of team you have, what kind of projects you're in. If it's really a time bound or a critical project, yes, there could be some practical challenge and little less on flexibility compared to another organization. But strictly, at least we follow what the guideline of the institute says.
And
But if you're lucky, you can get that flexibility with your
yes, yes,
firm.
and also institute guidelines has to be followed by each and every firm. So again, it's very clear that okay, 6 months of leave is acceptable in throughout the internship period. Yes, a big four do give those leaves, and even again, I saw again my brother was from doing internship from big four, so I saw his. I was fairly surprised because how can you get so much of leaves and how do you manage such things. So okay, but things happen, and I think it was across the division. So
Yeah.
people are lenient, and the institute policy.
Yeah, yeah,
is
absolutely. It really depends. Yeah.
yes. Then the work-life balance. So yes, for an intern, initially yes, I think first 5 6 months it's okay, but as and when he gets into, he learns certain aspects of work and all. I think work is being burdened. But I think that is how you learn, right? You cannot learn by just working for 2 3 hours 4 hours a day and you think that you will understand the nitty-gritties of the financial statements or say for the nitty-gritties of taxation because yes, you need to research, you need to look into things, you need to talk to people around. That is going to take time, and that's how
Yeah.
you build networking relationships in work. So work-life balance. So it's not that your life is going to be a hell, just that you. What should I say? You should be kind of passionate for
No,
it. If you're
I
in,
think, Sudhanshu, I think it's about how, as I said in the beginning,
right,
how well you can manage your time. And
correct,
you know, the best of the friends can come out of your internship.
correct,
So if you are really able to maintain that, the friendship with your own circle, I
yes,
think work just becomes more easy and more fun to do.
right,
I mean, that would be the best case, but definitely you can't compare a big four work versus somebody who's working in a non-big four sort of. Because you have big projects, you have big clients, you have bigger responsibilities, you're in a bigger organization, your remuneration is also definitely higher. So, you know, all those equates to the fact that you have to put in more work, time, more efforts.
makes sense.
Nobody is asking you to, we in fact, we inculcate and we encourage all the seniors. Some work, at times it work, at times it doesn't, because definitely, you know, we have business challenges, but we encourage at least for the interns. All the seniors are instructed that they should not work beyond a dedicated or desired timeline
Right.
as per the institute guidelines. We try and ensure that to the extent possible, but definitely, you know, none of the things work 100%, right? You always have 80-20 ratio. So long as we are able to meet 70-80% of it, 20% here and there will always go in
Yes.
such an environment we are working in. But
Yes.
I think that is something which is encouraged. But if you compare a work-life balance, so-called, with a non-big four versus a big four, definitely it will not match.
Yes. Then on the soft skills, just how different the life is of an intern or in a big four vis-a-vis in a mid-sized firm. I think what I read something on my phone. Actually, someone forwarded it. I'm just reading it. I think it will help our learners. So suppose I have to take certain approval for increase in fees. So what a mid-sized firm intern is writing and what a big four intern is writing, and just giving that narration. Okay. So mid-sized firm, this intern writes, "Sir, I have submitted the request for fees increase in my system for XYZ client. Please approve it so that I can proceed further." प्रॉपर फॉर्मल चीज है इंग्लिश है सब ठीक है नो प्रॉब्लम बट सी हाउ डिफरेंटली पीपल इंटर्न्स बिग फोर और a big six write this morning sir need a minute of yours won't bother you for long have submitted fees increase request would require your go ahead. See, if you see those two comparatives, one is, see, work is going to be done in both the cases, but the person who is writing it in a more informal way, but in a very polite manner, he is writing, yes, I need a minute of yours. This is going to get the work done in a fraction of a second. That's how I think. And for you, ma'am, if you, I think
No,
you,
no, absolutely. I
yeah,
have again personally seen the skills sources of a vast difference.
right,
A vast difference between a non-big four and a big four, because I think it really comes with the culture and the kind of people you interact. You really have super
right,
experienced and super senior people. You have to interact. I know at times, even if you don't interact, just seeing them, hearing them, the way they, carry themselves, how
yeah,
professional they are, and we do train organizations. The
yeah,
best part of being in an organization, any big four, they do have dedicated teams for training in soft skills, because we really believe the kind of the policies we have. One of the key policy is that the person, you may be wrong in your technical, but the confidence and the professionalism you carry on your
yeah,
shoulders while interacting with client, that says it all.
right,
That's where the client differentiates between a non-big four and a big four. So I think soft skills, at least in the organization, it makes a lot of difference and a lot of importance to your communication skills, your business writing skills, your etiquette, and all of that. It does make a lot of difference.
I think when my brother joined, I think 10-day program was held wherein all the soft skills, technical skills, all these kind of what you say spoon feeding was done on day 1 to 10, and I think that really helped him shape a lot. In fact, for me also, I joined as a consultant. I think even I was taught how to eat. So I think
Yes,
that's what
yes.
happens.
I have been a part of these soft skills
Right.
training. So
Yes. Yes.
definitely it. I mean, it's definitely a picnic because it's non-technical, it's
Correct.
non-client, so it's a matter of joy for the team. But yes, that again is a part of learning.
Yes.
Just not thinking about for some time about work and job, etc., etc., but just how you carry yourself with confidence, with soft skills, etc., etc. That plays a very important role.
So one more example I want to give. I just recollected something. So this was it was in suppose I was a consultant there and I was talking to an intern. It was middle of the night. I think 11 or 12. Again, post working hours. Obviously, I understand that. But suddenly, so he was researching on some case laws. Okay. So what this guy comes up with. So suppose XYZ case is there. He says so. There is this dude who has purchased this property and he started that kind of thing and not doing the technical thing, but he's explaining it in such a fluid
Right,
manner.
right.
यार नींद उड़ जाती है that way. And even I got a perspective. Okay, yes, you can make the learnings can be fun if you are looking at from a different perspective. So
Right.
I learned something from an intern that time, and yes, that's the culture is. That's how things happen.
Absolutely.
Right. Then ma'am, interdepartmental jumps in Big Four possible? Internship के time में I doubt ऐसा होता है इतनी जल्दी.
No, I think maybe hota hoga. Not sure about that, but at least in last 4 5 years, I haven't seen, and again, as I said, it's really. अगर हुआ भी होगा तो it would be really on an exceptional basis. But this is something which is not encouraged, and with time, the stricter ICI guidelines are, I think it's not.
So I think for our learners, it's a takeaway that boss, if you are looking for a Big Four, or if you are suppose you entered in audit department, statutory audit, you are going to be there for these number of years. So
Yes.
That's going to happen. This is mid-sized firm, so I think mid-sized firm gains more brownie point over here.
Absolutely.
So again, industrial trainings, will it help to build CV? So industrial training generally happens in the last year of internship, and people do take that option. I think they do help building my
Yeah.
And there is no problem whatsoever. Suppose even if you're working in a mid-sized firm or a Big Four firm, partners are going to agree to it if you are having an offer for industrial training, right?
Right.
Right. Yes. So do art, and I think we are doing the last part of it. So learners, if you have any questions, you can just type there in your chatter box. So do articles have choice of medicine firm? Ma'am, this this is I think this value